Expecting to find a gun, right?
Yes, sir.
Must have been kind of disappointing when you didn't, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
You're a little annoyed about it?
No, sir.
Did you happen to punch Brent Butler twice in the gut?
No, sir.
How about once in the left eye?
No, sir.
And if you did, that'd be a violation of department regulations, right?
That's correct.
And that could result in suspension or dismissal. And if you had done that, would you tell us the truth about it, sir?
Yes, sir.
Is that your custom to tell the truth in situations such as that?
Objection, Your Honor.
And how did that appear to you as you viewed it?
Oh, it was a large well, like, I mean, he had been hit from the...
Your Honor, I'm going to object to any conclusions by this witness.
That's just my opinion, so...
Overruled as to that.
And does it show up on defendant's form?
That's just a different view. With a swelling, you can't accept, I take it from different angles, so you can see it, rather than a bruising that you can take straight on. So it was just, it's right in that area right there. There's a bruising right in here.
Where would that be on your body, Miss Smith?
Right in the middle of my chest area.
At this time, we'd call Brenton Butler. Juveniles are not very easy to work with. They have a lack of sophistication. Oftentimes, they have limited vocabulary. They have difficulty sometimes expressing themselves. They are not as focused on things. They have a tendency to be distracted. And how I worked with Mr. Butler was to take the interview that had been done of him and the affidavit that he had executed for his bond hearing and break it down into small pieces. When you got down to the police station, were you put into a room?
Yes, ma'am.
And who came in?
Detective Darnell, Detective Williams.
Was the next person you met Detective Glover?
Correct.
Now, Brent, had you ever seen that man before?
No, ma'am.
When he walked in, did you say, "Boy, am I glad to see you"?
No, ma'am.
What did he start talking to you about?
He started talking about sports.
Is he being friendly? Is he being nice? Or is he being mean?
At that point, he's being nice.
Did there come a time when he became not so nice to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he use any racial comment towards you?
Yes, ma'am.
What did he tell you?
He said, it's niggas like you that make me mad these days.
What did he do when he told you that?
He started poking at my chest.
With what?
His finger, he was going like this, poking at my chest.
Was he saying anything as he was doing this?
Yes, ma'am.
What?
He said, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna get you.
Did he touch you again?
Yes, ma'am.
What did he do?
He banged his fist into my chest.
Show me.
It was like,
Did he then give you a scenario of what he thought had happened?
yeah, it said, you had accidentally shot the lady, you ran, and you threw the gun and purse in the woods.
What did you say?
Said, no, sir, I didn't have nothing to do with that.
Does the issue of trying to go out into the woods and find the gun come up?
Yes, ma'am.
How far did Detective Glover walk you into the woods?
It was pretty deep.
And what's the lighting like inside the woods at this time?
It's pretty dim, like shady.
At some point, Brent, did Detective Glover hit you?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did he hit you first?
In my stomach.
How hard?
I fell to my knees.
And what'd you say?
So I couldn't help you.
What did
I don't know anything about a gun person.
What did he do?
Hit me in my stomach again.
What did you do?
I fell to my knees.
Did it hurt?
Yes, ma'am.
What happened after you fell on your knees the second time?
Well, I was crying. Then he said, "You look pathetic." And he pulled me up by my shirt.
Did you get hit again?
Yes, ma'am.
Where?
Hit me in my left eye.
How hard did he hit you?
It wasn't no knockout punch or nothing like that. But it was a hit, and I took a couple steps back, took a few steps back.
I anticipated that the police were not going to admit that they had harmed him. And it would be important to put his injuries into the context of the interrogation. And the only real way to do that, since there are only 3 detectives and Mr. Butler as witnesses to these injuries, and since I anticipated that the detectives would be denying the injuries, the only way to really explain to either the court or the jury how the injuries occurred would be for him to testify. So when you saw Detective Darnell, what did he do?
At that point, he had pulled out a form.
And what did he start to do with that form with you?
He had said, you had robbed the older lady, and you had pulled out a gun real fast. You had shot her. You had ran home or something like that. I ain't really.
And what's he doing as he's telling you these things?
At that point, he writing it down.
Okay. And when he got done going through this, what did he tell you to do?
He told me to sign it.
What happened?
At that point, then he had unsnapped this holster like. Then I said, "What you gonna do? Shoot me?" He said, "You guess right." He said, "Every 10 seconds that's passed by, he gonna hit me."
Did 10 seconds pass by?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did he do?
Yeah, he hit me twice in my left eye.
Did you sign the form?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Brent, did you shoot the lady, Mrs. Stevens, at the Ramada Inn the morning of May 7th?
No, ma'am.
Were you at the Ramada Inn the morning of May 7th?
No, ma'am. Never been there before.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Can you tell us who you are?
I'm Melissa Butler.
I think you said you usually get up before 7, is that correct?
Always.
Okay. And do you know if that was true this morning?
Yes, because I still can't sleep past 7 o'clock.
What'd you do when you got up?
Well, when I usually get up in the morning, I go ahead and pray as usual and go in the bathroom and do whatever I need to do in there. And it took about 10 minutes. After I left my bedroom, I went directly to Brent's room. His door was closed. I opened his door. He was in bed still in his boxers, but his back was turned towards the door, his face facing his bedroom wall. The next time that I saw Brent after leaving my bedroom, when I was here, and Brent was right here in the foyer area near the 4th bedroom, which is here, I would assume he was coming out of the 4th bedroom from the laundry room, which is here.
Did you speak at all with each other at that point?
Yes. When we met here, I said, "Good morning, Brent," and he said, "Good morning."
Now, did you encounter any policemen that morning?
Yes.
Did either of those gentlemen speak to you or your husband in your presence?
Yes.
Tell me, if you would, about that conversation.
They asked, "Do Brent Butler live here?" And we said yes. And my husband said, "What can I help you with?" And they said, "Well, we just want to question him, not accusing him of anything. We just want to question him to see if he know anything about the break-ins in the area."
Now, you went in, and Brenton wasn't there. You told the police that, right?
Yes.
Did that alarm you or upset you, or was that unusual?
Well, it was not unusual for Brent to leave the house without telling us, but it was very unusual for Brent to stay gone for a long period of time because he would stay no more than 30 minutes to an hour. He have never left the house and just gone and stayed, and that's what upset me. And I called my sister Emma, and I said, what could have happened to him? And she said, well, call some of his friends. Sean is the only friend that I know that Brent associate with. So I called Sean on my cell phone to ask, had he talked to Brent today? He said no. At that point, I know something has happened to my son. So, oh, excuse me.
Just take a moment. There's water beside you if you need it. Did you get to speak to Brenton later that night?
Yes, but it was very late.
Do you recall what he said to you and you to him?
He said, Mom, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. And he said, I'm going to spend the rest of my life in here because they made me sign this paper. And I said, what paper? He didn't quite understand because he was so upset himself. And I said, no, you won't. I said, Brenton, just pray and hold on.
Objection. What she said is not relevant. I think you're trying to bring in statements of the defendant, which would be, but she's going to conversation.
It may be necessary just to get a complete understanding of the conversation, so overrule the objection.
So I told him to just pray and hold on. And that our father would do, his dad and I would do anything to get him out of that. That means even mortgaging the house to get him out of this. Thank you.
Are you okay?
Okay. Ms. Derrick, you may proceed.
If you need a break, just let us know. I just want to clarify a few things. That's all I'm going to be asking you about. You indicated that the first time you saw your son, he was still in his bedroom,
Yes, ma'am.
and you're basing the time that you saw him on your regular pattern.
Yeah.
You didn't look at a clock.
No.
And I think you said, now what time was it that you saw him in the laundry room?
It was, well, not exactly in the laundry room. I met him in the foyer area because I was coming down the hallway leading to the foyer area.
But that's on the way to the laundry room?
Yes.
Okay, where you keep your cleaning supplies?
Yes.
Your Honor, I don't have any other questions.
Just briefly, Your Honor. Ma'am, you realize you're under oath.
Yes.
Is there any question in your mind that your son was home between 7 and 9 in the morning?
No question. I know my son was home.
Thank you, ma'am.
I gave Andy your pager number, so he can call you whenever.
I thought he had it. I never really had it.
No, actually, he said he didn't. I've got it.
They knew they didn't have a case. And a detective went in, and he wrote out what he wanted. And he's a man who gets what he wants. And then he threatened a 15-year-old boy, and he poked him, and he displayed his gun, and he got him to sign a piece of paper. It was a pathetic piece of paper that made no sense, that never has been since that date supported in any way. There is no truth in it, but it was close enough for government work.
So you asked Detective Williams about talking to the defendant. Did you do so?
I did.
Was anybody else with you?
No, it's just me.
Tell the jury about your conversation.
I told him that a decision had been made that he would be arrested and charged with the murder of Mary Ann Stevens. Told him that we would complete some paperwork and that he would be incarcerated.